Good evening once again. Welcome back to Sports Today. Brilliant performance with the ball led by Deepak Chahar with his career best figure in IPL. What a ball it was to get rid of Mayank Agarwal. Well, a lot many stories which we're going to talk on tonight about the match. What a brilliant match it was. But before that, let's have a look at fan fight.
It's match day. Play fantasy cricket now. Get up to 2.5 crores daily and lots more. 20 times more. Win big on Fan Fight. This game involves an element of financial risk and may be addictive. Please play responsibly and at your own risk.
Well, more than the players, I feel Deep Dasgupta is having a tough time today. Working there, then coming back here. So, welcome back, Deep. We have Porya Majumdar and Rajarshi Gupta. All right, as we started talking about Deepak Chahar, let's start talking about the player tonight. I'm going to start with Deep first. Deep, you tell me your views about his performance.
Obviously he was fantastic because this is his strength. This is his strength, which is to swing the ball, the line and length, bowling those test lengths. And I think obviously there was little more help in the last couple of games of this surface here at Wankhede, which generally does not have that kind of help. But I think credit to Deepak Chahar for actually kind of exploiting whatever there was, whatever help there was. And the ball, as you mentioned, right at the top to get rid of Mayank. I think that was an absolute jaffer of a delivery. Moved a little bit, enough to beat that outside edge, but most importantly, moved very, very late. That's the reason you see Mayank trying to play that ball on the onside because it moved that late. Amazing piece of bowling, and also credit to Captain MS Dhoni for making him bowl four in a row because he ended up picking another wicket in his fourth over.
Well, like yesterday, there was some help of seamers, but I think there were few rash shots from Punjab Kings batsmen as well. I mean, look at Puran. He just came when three wickets were down, and the second ball he faced, he tried to hit Deepak Chahar for a six, and eventually gave away his wicket. On that situation, what do you think, Deep? And this question will be for Boria also. Puran should have done. Should he have given himself some time at that point of time?
Where you go first?
You go.
Okay, for me, I think it's an instinctive shot, but as you mentioned, because it's not just about coming in when three wickets had fallen or the situation of the match was something else. He also got out almost the same way in the last game as well, trying to play that full shot. It was a brilliant catch from Sakaria in the last game against Rajasthan Royals. So two games in a row, he's got out playing the same shot. So yes, while I do understand it's instinctive and this format, you want your instincts to take over. But having said that, I mean, he's such an important player in that playing 11 of Kings that you would want him to kind of settle down and start contributing a lot more because a lot of that middle order depends on what Nicholas Puran does.
What about you?
I entirely agree because if you see it's the same way Ishan Kishan got out the other day, again that same instinctive shot caught at fine leg. So one understands where that shot is coming from, but as Deep said, you've got to rein yourself in. But more importantly, I think the fundamental question that Deep needs to answer is it about contemporary batsmen and their vulnerability against the moving ball? I mean, the moment the ball starts to move, whoever you are, contemporary batsmen, is it because of excessive T20s? Is it because of the way they now attack? Is it something to do with it? Because contemporary batsmen, unfortunately, are not being able to do it in this format. So there is a problem there. Deep, is it more generic now? Is it
True.
the moment the ball starts to move? Do you see that?
I couldn't agree more with you, Boria. I think we see this across all formats. The ball starts turning, then we say, "Oh, the ball's turning." If it starts moving, it's swinging. I mean, you've got to give something to the bowlers, and as you rightly said, Boria, I think it's a little more deep-rooted, if I may address that as well. And I think we've spoken about it. If you look at obviously the pitches that you get in white ball cricket is generally so flat. As a batsman, if you're playing a lot of white ball cricket, you just get used to those flat highway kind of pitches where you just put your foot down and hit through the line. You kind of get used to that. That becomes your mindset, and also the way most of contemporary batsmen they practice against the bowling machine. So they generally don't have a lot of problem nowadays with the pace. but it's the ball moving a bit, whether it's off the surface or in the air. And secondly, I when let's just talk about this Wankhede game here, and that's important because generally Wankhede has this reputation of being a high scoring venue. We saw that in the first two games. Even 220 was looking at one point in time not being enough. Then 188 was easily chased down. Then comes these two low scoring games because when you come to Wankhede, there is the reputation of Wankhede which precedes it. And as a batsman, you're thinking about that 180, 200. But last two games, the pitch wasn't that 180, 200. Maybe it was 170, not 150, not definitely not 108 or 107. It was around that 170-ish mark. But I think the reputation is such of this venue that as a batsman, that's always the back of your mind.
But Deep, you also look at the short selection and a couple of soft dismissals, especially Deepak Huda would be pretty disappointed with the way he got out. Also, KL Rahul, though, 591. Yes, the pitch was a bit of a challenge, like both you and Boria mentioned. Again, you and Pragyan reflected on that last night. That run, where he got run out with Chris Gale, that I think there was a miffled LBW appeal of Chris Gale. Was there a run in it? Is it sometimes, that was a moment of injudicious calling, right? Chris Gale doesn't do those quick singles. What was KL Rahul thinking?
Yeah, I mean, true. I think if you look at that replay again, if they had actually gone through with the run at the first go itself, maybe they would have made it. Right? There was this little bit of an hesitation, and that hesitation could be because the fielder was Jadeja. Generally speaking, you want to take that single, and that single is on. But you've got to give credit to Jadeja, and that little stutter maybe was because KL Rahul, back of his mind, suddenly realized that it's Jadeja and it is no one else but it's Jadeja there. And what a throw to get rid of KL Rahul, and that was a very, very important moment in the game.
And now yeah, Rajesh.
I wanted to ask Boria what this performance now does for the Super Kings. Obviously, the pitch assisted the fast bowlers, but they also really bowled well, especially that power. In fact, we were just discussing in the pre-match analysis, right? Deepak Chahar over the last few games hasn't taken a lot of wickets in that power play. He obviously somebody of his talent. He has the best bowling in T20I, bowling figures in T20Is. Now, what does this do to the balance of the team? They'll play a few more games here. Now, are you happy with that balance? And would the CSK team be looking at this balance and saying, "Hang on, this pitch is, if we get 20% of our matches on pitches like these, this team suddenly looks a very, very different unit with the pace bowlers up front."
See, I said this in the pre-match show, I'll say it again. The moment the ball starts to move, Deepak Chahar, Sam Curran and Shardul Thakur start to look very different bowlers. The moment the ball doesn't move, and it's a huge problem, they look all the same. The other side, were you happy seeing Suresh Raina and Ambati Raidu? And I've made this point 200 times on our show. The moment Suresh Raina, the new Suresh Raina comes in, if you have a 145 bowler, just give it to him. Just give it to him. And Ambati Raidu's shot against Mohammad Shami also said the same thing to me. So that batting order is a wobbly batting order. And it is overwhelmingly still dependent on Faf du Plessis, and Moeen Ali played well. So it is still dependent very much on Faf du Plessis. So Chennai Super Kings, it's a very comprehensive victory tonight. But if you actually think that this settles their problems, no, it doesn't. The batting is wobbly. MS did not come up. I thought it was a great opportunity for MS to have come and had some batting. This is a match situation, for God's sake. You're chasing 106. I don't understand this. I just don't understand this. Why would you not take advantage of a situation like this? Moeen Ali is in form. He's very much there. Played for England. MS has not played a competitive cricket match for a while. Got some opportunity to bat out the other night. Just come and bat. So Chennai Super Kings, it was an easy victory, but several questions still remain, at least in the batting department. And if that ball doesn't move, then it's a problem again for that bowling attack.
The only shining star in Punjab Kings camp. Let's talk about Shah Rukh Khan. We need to have a conversation. How good he was today, Deep.
I thought he was very, very good, Shah Rukh Khan. I think the fact that he played the situation very well. So we all know that he can hit a long ball, but he had to kind of rein in his instincts. He had to play a different kind of a knock. He didn't get to his 50. If he got to his 50, it would have been his first T20 50 in his T20 career, right? So he's generally known for finishing games off. But today there was an opportunity to play a different kind of role, and in what he showed to that Kings management, that he is a good enough batsman to play different situations, to play different gears, and I think this is a big bonus in the sense that obviously they would have wanted to win this game, but now the top order knows that there is a Shah Rukh Khan coming at number 5 who they can depend on. Yes, he came in with a big reputation, but you still never knew that is he going to be that, I mean, the same kind of a player at this level. But obviously, this game has shown that he can deliver at this level as well, and that should give a lot of confidence to the top order for them to play a little more freely.
I've actually watched Shah Rukh Khan on Nisha for a long time, from TNPL days, from his Dindigal days, and watched every game of his. And there he used to open. He used to open Shah Rukh Khan and oftentimes sort of thrash the ball. He would play, sort of get himself in and then go for the attack. Today, he was conserving himself, which was good to see. He tried to take it as deep as possible. Good to see. So it was a good display of temperament. So obviously the big boys had gotten out. So that, I mean, it is impossible to expect a player who's just about come to not get out. But what we saw was impressive. And the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not every day will Rahul get run out. Not every day will Mayank get that Jaffa kind of a delivery.
Yeah.
So for me, that batting lineup is still good. Huh? Mayank, Rahul, Gale, Puran, Huda, and Shah Rukh Khan is a good enough batting lineup, notwithstanding the failure of tonight. So I keep saying
But
this Kings 11 is a
okay.
good team.
No,
Should
Boria,
we
just to
include
add
them
to
as the
that, I
backup in the
Boria,
Yeah,
just to
what?
lineup?
add to that, and just a throw, I mean, put it on the table kind of a thing. Would you want another all-rounder in
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
like Moses
Moses,
Enrique in
100%.
there
100%.
instead of, because when I look at that batting order, and I completely agree when you say, Kale will not get run out every game and Kale will have his days. Mayank is looking a little jittery, but I'm sure he's good enough to find his form back over this tournament. But somehow when I look at that batting order, Jai Richardson coming at number 7 is a little too
Slightly
early for
early.
me. Jai
Yeah.
Richardson, yeah, Jai Richardson at 8 is fine. So I somehow see a role there for Moses Enrique.
I would drop Riley Meredith and get Moses in. And I've said this on our
Yeah,
show
yeah.
earlier that I would go in with Moses because Moses will do me my 4 overs. And Riley Meredith, you've got a Shami, you've got a Jai Richardson. Most importantly, Arshdeep is picking wickets. So drop a Riley Meredith, get a Moses in. You will have much more balance in that Punjab Kings lineup.
Well, let's get back to what Deep was actually saying to all of us, that the last three power play scores in Wankhede, the team
Yeah,
has
yeah.
lost at least 3 wickets. So, what do you
Oh,
think? Is this the pressure of scoring runs causing the downfall of the batsman? Because Wankhede is supposed to be a batting paradise.
বল নড়ছে আর কিচ্ছু হচ্ছে না, খেলতে পারছে না, বল the moment starts moving, বাস গল্প শেষ. That is the problem with these contemporary batsmen. See na, the moment the ball started moving, look at last night, Chris Wokes moving, gone. Today, Deepak Chahar moving, gone. Jaydev Unadkat slightly and then using the slower ball back of the hand, Mustafizur Rahman, gone. So the moment the ball starts moving, however good a batsman you are, modern batsmen struggle. 4 wickets in either power play yesterday, tonight 3, game over. In fact, today, why are we talking now? Because this is the first game that is finished at 10:45, and it was finished when Deepak Chahar finished his spell. 8 overs, game over. The rest of it was a formality, and that is why you have to apply. Someone like a Puran has to apply, play Deepak Chahar out, and go and play the rest, because that ball will not keep moving for the rest of the innings after the first 4, 5, 6, 7 overs. That's what these people need to realize.
No, but Andesha, also when you talk about the Wankhede, there's been it's not just a flat pitch. It's because it's the ball has sometimes it comes onto the bat and sometimes it's very it's that much more convenient for scoring runs. But Deep, would you explain that uniqueness around the Wankhede Stadium, right next to the sea, with the sea breeze coming in, and because of the because of the hoods and the shelterings around the stands, how does that impact someone like Shardul Thakur and Deepak Chahar, and how different could it be for a 3:30 p.m. start? Because Chennai are also playing the next three matches there, I believe, three or four. One of them is a
Mm.
3:30 p.m. start. How will that be different? Do you see? Do you see more runs coming in Mumbai in an afternoon game?
Uh, See, for me, I think when I saw the pitch in the afternoon, rather evening, start of the game, it felt a little wet, as in, I wouldn't say wet, wet is the wrong word, a little moist, because obviously they had put a little bit of water in the morning and roll the pitch, because there was a game yesterday. Obviously, they could not water the pitch, the strip that was going to be used today. So somewhere, I think that moisture, that water that was given in the morning did not dry up completely, and obviously you expect, if there are back-to-back games, the second game to be a little slower, because obviously you won't get that kind of time to prepare the pitch. But when you talk about afternoon, again, afternoon can be tricky because it's hot here, and to maintain, and because it's a red soil pitch, the red soil, it loses water very easy. I mean, the rate of evaporation is a lot more on red soil pitches. So that's where they add a little bit of extra moisture. Now that moisture content is very important. If it does not dry in time, then obviously bowling first also helps the quicker bowlers, because the ball stops a bit and all. So it'll be very interesting, those afternoon games, because end of the day, it boils down to, listen, the other important thing, this year there is no home game, right? So there is no advantage, or home advantage for anyone. So it's not that Mumbai India wants a hard surface, wants a high scoring game, because they have power hitters, they have the best power hitting unit in this whole competition. So that's not there anymore, right? So the pitches might be a little differently what they have in the past.
Right, but the first week of the IPL is done. Every team, Boria Deep, they have played two games each, right? I'll start with you, Boria, and I'll also want Deep to weigh on this. Rishabh Pant said he was he hinted he was happy playing away from Delhi because he's a power player and he has a lot of power batsmen in his side, right? First week into the tournament, which teams do you think would be the happiest not playing at home, and which teams would be the most disappointed? Mumbai Indians for sure would be missing a lot of the Mumbai contingent runs and assistance for seamers, Korea.
Absolutely. But most importantly, the moment we are now into what, 7 days of the IPL, if you see, the COVID scare has almost disappeared despite the country having 2 lakh cases. So far at least, the BCCI's bio bubble is working. Now, this for me is a massive thing, that you can actually have proper bio bubbles which are conducive enough to host an international competition of this nature and scale. If the BCCI can pull it off, incredible statement in front of the world. We are going through our worst COVID wave. Okay, number one. Number two, to answer your question, I think 3 teams are going to be rather disappointed in not having played. One is obviously Chennai, creating Fortress Chennai, Mumbai, creating Fortress Mumbai. So these are the 2 teams that come to mind. And the third team, which actually wants, I mean, David Warner keeps telling me that the ball comes onto the bat in Hyderabad, I would go for my shots. Here, the wickets are slow. So, we have to adapt differently. So that given that team, Johnny Bairstow, David Warner, etc., they wouldn't be too happy. They wouldn't be too happy playing where they are. So, but at the same time, this is a level playing field. You will have different conditions. You go master them and go win a competition. So I'm quite intrigued by the level of. For me, the highlight of the first week has been Indian domestic players, nothing more. Indian domestic players, they've killed it. They've killed it, and that is why the Indian Premier League is the Indian Premier League. And Deep Das Gupta on commentary, Indian commentators. But today I saw Harsha Bhogle tweet celebrating Deep for having done some Hindi, Telugu, Kannada, or whatever he has. I mean, now he doesn't speak all those languages to us because maybe for whatever reason he considers, no, we are not good enough for him to sort of expose us to such gems. But otherwise, Deep Das Gupta on commentary has been stellar, just like Indian bowlers. I mean, whether it is a Harshal Patel, whether it is some of these people. So, and I also know why Deep does not say all these things to us, because he's slightly depressed because yesterday night, he had to celebrate his wife's birthday virtually. So that is also a cause of slight depression. We'll get him back. We'll get him back and speak in Kannada to us also.
No, he's such a superstar. I'm sure we'll get a gem out of him somewhere. Pragyan Oja, by the way, Boria, you must listen to his postpaid and prepaid SIM card analogy when he was describing Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma and the younger players. That was a gem. Deep will of course
So
look
so
at
so
us.
why don't you take these gems and put them on social media? Get Pragyan Ojha to give these gems. It will be good for
That clip
in
is out
every
already.
sense.
Yeah, that
So
clip is
put
out
it up.
already. That was immediately my first thought. That clip has to go, and it is going, and hopefully it'll go viral in the next couple of days. That was a proper gem. But Deep, that's the same question for you. Royal Challengers Bangalore again, right? 2 wins out of 2 matches. They wouldn't be too disappointed not working from home.
No, absolutely not. In fact, I've put RCB as one of my top four teams because I think this could be RCB's year. I'm not saying they'll go on and win the tournament, but I think they should have a better year than what they've had in the past. So yeah, someone like RCB should enjoy it. In fact, I'm a little surprised that SRH is two down into. In fact, they should have won both, to be honest. So I still think this whole no home or the venues that have been assigned, I think SRH could benefit, personally speaking. Maybe Warner won't, because obviously Warner and Best, especially these two, would want Paul coming onto the bat. But if you look at the whole team, that whole setup, and especially the bowling lineup, uh, I think they would enjoy surfaces like Chennai and Delhi. And yes, as Boria mentioned, I think the teams wouldn't want this home advantage to go would be obviously Chennai and Mumbai, because their home record is stellar. Whether it's Wankhede or Shabak, it's absolutely brilliant, that home record. So obviously that would affect them to a bit, to a certain extent.
Anisha, you might have some fan questions, but before you take those, here's a gem from MS Dhoni. We were talking about gems from Deep Dasgupta to Pragyan Oja, which we'll get a lot of on Sports Today. He said he feels a little old, and that's a typical MS Dhoni reaction. He says 200 matches for CSK make me feel a little old. I never thought Mumbai would be a home venue for CSK. Of course, looking back at that Mumbai Chennai
Yeah,
rivalry over the years.
the point is he is old. All of us are old. So it is not as if he's a spring chicken or Deep and I can pose as a spring chicken. You and Onnish are. You all are in your 20s. Deep and I are in our mid 40s. So is MS.
I'm
So let us face the fact that MS is past 40 or touching 40. So he is old. The fact that he's still playing, that is why we should consume every second of MS. So there's no
Rajat,
Yeah,
debate.
I
Deep,
never
deep,
need
deep,
your
deep, deep is resisting because look at him. He looks 25. That's fine. But I know that I'm 45 plus, and that is the reason I'm vaccinated.
Well, I'm in my 30s, and I'll take that as a compliment, Bori. I hope I look like
Of
someone in
course,
mid 20s. I'm in my mid 30s there.
of course. But Deep, 1 week
right.
down,
Yeah, yeah.
amazing Indian domestic performances.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That is the highlight.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely, yes. Couldn't agree more. I mean, the way the Indian domestic players have come forth and me. I mean, this is a big platform, man. This is a huge platform, and all these young guys coming through. I mean, if you look at the top wicket takers now, if you look at the top run getters now, I mean, generally you'd expect those names that we generally see, but not. I mean, not there in the top five. You only have KL Rahul, and that too, I think, in the fifth. I mean, you have Nitish Rana, you have all these guys in the top five. You have Sanju Samson. I mean, obviously Sanju Samson is established, but you know, even bowling wise, Harshal. And what a story. Arshdeep again. I mean, last season, first season, you can think, oh, Arshdeep maybe one good season, flash in the pan. But no, he's come back stronger than last season. He's bowling so well. I mean, it's absolutely fabulous. I mean, it's as Boria mentioned, and that's the essence of IPL. Yes, the essence of IPL is the overseas flavor to it. But in the heart of it all, it's the Indian Premier League. It's the Indians who make this big. The everything else a very good wrapper. I mean, listen, to sell something you need good wrapping, you need the cover and everything else to sell. But end of the day, the product is the Indians, the Indian players, the Indian support system. And yes, I mean, overseas players are extremely important part of it. But like I said, in the heart of it all, it's the Indian Premier League.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, coming back to today's match, this was the game for Rituraj Gaikwad, like to get some runs with no pressure on the target. He could have played sensibly but threw away his wicket cheaply. So, will Uthappa replace him in the next match?
Good question. Very good question. Because they have a Robin sitting out there. I mean, the pressure is starting to build on Ruturaj. So yes, maybe one more because MS is like that. That he sort of gives his players a bit of a rope. And towards the end of the last season, if you see, Ruturaj did play well, has talent. Maybe one more game he will get. But that's a very very good question. That will Robin make into his way into the team for Ruturaj? Maybe one more, just one more.
All right, it's time for me to take the fan questions. The first one is from Dev Bargho. Okay, that's how he pronounces, I guess. But the question is for you, Guryada. Guryada, explain me the review in Meredith's goal to Du Plessis.
Yeah, I mean, that was quite funny actually. What was Anil Chaudhary trying to communicate? Rajesh, what was he showing? He just talked to the umpire.
Yeah.
I actually didn't sort of understand. Obviously, eventually they sort of checked whether it was a
Yeah.
sneak or not. But the way Anil walked up, as if he tried to show this, is it over the shoulder? What was he trying to do? This is quite a funny little piece of But these things happen. And Anil Chaudhary is quite a character. There's quite a number of questions on Nisha. There's a compliment for you also that you are the showstopper. Thank you, boss. That's why we've recruited on Nisha. Whoever, Tushar, that's why we've recruited on Nisha. Of course, she's a showstopper. Ruban, Loganath, and Meredith and Richardson becoming expensive. In a match like this, very difficult to say. I thought Jai Richardson started extremely well tonight. Sagar Bhosle, Jadeja underutilized in the CSK setup. Rajoshi, Jadeja underutilized?
But he didn't have a lot to do with the ball today. And in the first game, it was a flatter pitch. If there was more runs, he was coming back after an injury, after a layover. So he will play his part. And over the years, Jadeja has been one of the stars and one of the cogs in the wheel for CSK. And I think with the conditions, also when they move to Delhi, you'll see more of that Jadeja impact, slower pitches, sluggish pitches. And by the way, even in pitches like these, Jadeja has he can be quite a handful, right, with the ball skidding on and with a lot more pace.
See,
I think Jadeja will still be a handful.
For me, Jadeja actually had the most important moment in the game. He got KL Rahul. That was Jadeja's wicket. That run out changed everything in a match like this. Trisha's messaging me. Dhruv Garg is asking, pick a first week 11. If we have to pick a first week 11, come on, let's do it. So, Rajoshi, who opens for you? Anisha, who opens for you? Give me one name. Rajoshi, you give one. Anisha gives one. I'll give my names.
I'll go with KL Rahul.
KL Rahul. Anisha, give me one.
I'm very bad at this.
Okay, you are very bad at this. So I think I will go with KL Rahul also, but I might, because Rajoshi has given it, I will go with Prithvi Shaw, and I'll actually put in do a slight change there. I'll go in with Prithvi Shaw, and I'll put in Sanju Samson to open instead of that's my first week team, and because Joss Butler isn't in great form. Rajoshi, who bats 3 for you?
I would, if you're also
Sky.
looking for Prithvi Shaw,
Sky.
I would. Sorry, what's that?
Sky, number 3, Sky.
Sky
else?
is number 3, and for me, if I can also put in number 4, Boria, if you allow me, for me it would be Glenn Maxwell at number 4 with his housing start.
Absolutely. Number 4, Glenn Maxwell. Number 5 can be De Villiers, can be someone from even, okay, De Villiers has been there, done that. Why not, based on the first week performance, why not a Deepak Hooda? Yeah. I would go with the Deepak Hooda because, that was a match-winning effort. So, thrust on Indian boys. Number 5, Deepak Hooda, who at number 6, of course, our star, Rishabh Pant. So, let's go in with Rishabh Pant at number 6 and we'll give him captaincy. Number 7, who's there for you, Rajoshi? Number 7?
Number 7 would be a little tricky, but basis last night's performance, maybe pick up. I know it's a little one position too high, but I'd get in Jaydev Unadkat with that first spell.
Okay, let's do it. Let's change it a little bit. Let's get Harshal Patel at number 7 and Unadkat at 8.
Harshal Patel, yeah.
Harshal Patel will do my all-round ability. Harshal Patel at number 7, Jaydev Unadkat at 8. 9, 10, 11. Which Indian spinner so far? Rahul Chahar leading the race?
Rahul Chahar, yes. Rahul Chahar on the evidence of the first week. So that's your
Evidence of
number
the first
9.
week, Rahul Chahar. Rahul Chahar leading the race, number 10 and 11. Let's go with Indian fast bowlers. Plenty to get from. Chetan Sakaria, Avesh Khan.
Exactly.
Who are you going with?
I was going with Chetan Sakaria, even though he didn't get any wickets last night, but he's been super impressive, especially with the movement that he gets, the balls that he gets to curve back. So Chetan Sakaria number 11. Who do we get in at number 10 then? Another
You get
left arm.
Bumrah. You get
Bumrah,
Bumrah
yeah.
because Bumrah, the way he bowled that penultimate over,
True,
set it up
true.
for Trent Bolt the other night. So let's get Bumrah there. So far,
Yeah.
Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Natarajan has not been impressive. If you want a foreign spinner, the one who walks in is Rashid, because the way Rashid is bowling is magical. So that's about our team for the week, Ornisha. So you become the coach.
Great. Okay, so before we wrap up, let's just take one fun question because he's been asking for quite a long time. This is for Boria. Why Mayank is struggling?
He's been struggling for a while, actually. I mean, it's quite slightly worrying, not quite, because today's ball was brilliant. I mean, it swung late, and Mayank actually, but you know what? He's just too good a batsman. And the first game he started well. He played two good shots, and then he got out in the first game. So I would say give him a couple more games, and what KL needs to do is basically tell Mayank, take a little bit of time. I think Mayank is hurrying up a little bit. The moment he comes there, he's sort of looking to get boundaries. Just play yourself in. He plays himself in to not score runs. So that's how I see it. Mayank will come good. The Kings 11 side is good. Just get Moses for Riley, and you will have a very, very good depth.
Well, with this, the number of players they mentioned, they have actually taken the best of the lot. I think the 10th team, the next year mega auction, in the mega auction will be Boria and Rajashi's team, the new team.
No,
But yes,
I actually I can tell my viewers that I was speaking to people at the BCCI, and they tell me that the two new teams will be auctioned after the IPL, so not before. And before you go, let me also tell you, a lot of people ask me about women's cricket. So let me actually say this on Sports Today, that there will be a camp for our women. There will be a camp inside a bio bubble for our women, and then they will play the Women's T20 Challenge. Post that, they will go to England. In England, they will play a test and the ODI series, which we know. Post that, the women's team, by the way, is also going to be playing the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. That is also now confirmed. Once they come back from England, South Africa, Sri Lanka, one of the teams will come here. Then they have a tour of Australia and also a tour of New Zealand, following which there will be the World Cup. So packed calendar for our girls. And that's what the BCCI Apex Council decided today. The meeting continued till 9 p.m. So these are the updates from the BCCI's Apex Council meeting.
well, you all will get the exclusive updates in our live shows. But for that, you need to subscribe to the channel, which is Sports Today. But most importantly, stay safe. Thank you.
Stay safe, Ornisha. Hopefully your daughter will be better. Rajoshi, I hope you take care of yourself in Delhi. It's rampantly bad. And I hope our political leaders have some sense and stop these rallies, because it's becoming a national health emergency and people should come first, not politics. On that note, as Ornisha said, good night. Thank you very much for watching this platform. We're back tomorrow. Plenty of exclusives coming your way. Inspiration, cricket with Aftab, multiple exclusive interviews, news breaks, and of course, Olympic sport in absolute detail. That's the beauty of Sports Today. Thank you very, very much for watching. Deep and Pragyan will both be back tomorrow. Pragyan's brother was not feeling well, which is why he missed tonight's show. We'll get him back tomorrow morning. Thank you very much for watching.